Beiwen Zhang too had an impressive 2018 that saw her reach 3 finals and qualify for the World Championships. She attributes much of that success to her strength and conditioning trainer Greg Choate, who's worked hard to improve the American's fitness in challenging circumstances.
It is one of the big issues with all the players, is trying to play tournament after tournament after tournament. The schedule's got so packed. There's so much, at stake for them as well, that they have to, what we call race and recover. It's like you've got to go really, really hard, then you've got to recover for a couple of weeks, and it's difficult. And then fit in your training. What I break it down in 3 ways. There's training, practice, and play. And the training is the physical stuff which we're doing here, strength and conditioning, mobility work, trying to make a fit. Then there's the practice, the skill stuff, which the coaches are doing with the skill work, and that's footwork as well as racket work. And then there's play. And those 3 are 3 really distinct areas of being a world-class athlete. But when you get into the play, it's just difficult for an athlete to be their best all the time. So right now we're just concentrating on reaction times, explosive work, but still keeping some strength and conditioning involved in the program. When we look at the schedule of where the tournaments lay in her yearly schedule, we have to find those blocks in there which we can really work on the foundational stuff, which is making her strong. Today what we've got set up is a basic 4 exercise circuit. We're targeting mainly hip-based strength. So the hip, when you go into lunges, in and out of the forecourt and coming out of the backcourt, it's really helpful to have very powerful explosiveness out of the hips. So we're working on the hips, we're working on retraction of the shoulders, bringing the shoulder back, making the shoulder very strong. Because in badminton, we're pushing the shoulder forward so much, we just do thousands of repetitions of pushing the shoulder forward. So when we're strengthening the shoulder, we need to pull it back out of this position and pull it back. And you can imagine it's like a rubber band. We want to pull it back to make it really strong so that when we unleash with our racket, it's a snap forward. And working the shoulders is critical. We've got to work on both sides so the body stays symmetrical. We're going to work a backward slide, again focusing on the hip and focusing on her coming out of, thank you. We're going to work on a backward motion with the hips again. Because in badminton we spend so much time going forward, there's a lot of loading comes onto the knee every time you go forward. So every time into a lunge, a lot of pressure into the knee. So what we don't need to do any more work going forward. We need to work on strengthening this whole complex around the knee and the hip. But we do that by moving backwards and coming strongly back out of this reverse position. So I'm really well known for doing everything backwards. So, whatever we're doing on the court, we don't need to do more of that. We need to do the stuff which strengthens the other side of the equation. And then finally, we're just going to do some basic core work. We've got 3 different core exercises we're going to do. Really simple, traditional core exercises, just to strengthen up all this area around, between the shoulders and the knees, basically, because the core in badminton works like a spring. So in badminton, we wind the core up and then we let it go like a spring. So we strengthen it to be in the middle. So when it gets twisted off, it wants to come back to the middle with a lot of power. And that's how we develop strength in the stroke and for our movement with our footwork, moving quickly in and out of the corners of the court. Let's get it done.